Well, there's an event that I believe is significant that may have gotten a little less publicity than what it should have. Israeli newspapers are reporting that Hamas has relinquished control of Gaza to Palestinian Authority, officials say. And I'm not going to say much about this. I'm just going to go ahead and read a little of the article. It says, as the Palestinian Authority made its first plans to begin ruling over both the West Bank and Gaza as part of a new reconciliation agreement between Hamas and Fatah, the Islamist group said it had handed over control of the Strip to the PA. Hamas deputy leader in Gaza, Khalil al-Hani, I guess that's how you pronounce his name, said in an interview with the Hamas-affiliated uh, Al-Aqsa television that from his point of view, the Palestinian prime minister of both the West Bank and Gaza is Dr. Rami Hamdullah. Hamdullah is prime minister of the Palestinian Authority, led by Fatah and seated in Ramallah in the West Bank. And certainly, forgive me for some of the mispronunciations of these names. This is Hayan added that the Palestinian government received full rule over the Gaza Strip. However, he conceded that the transferring of responsibility over key civilian portfolios, control of the border crossings, and day-to-day administration still required full coordination between Hamas and Fatah. Now this reconciliation agreement by Hamas and Fatah certainly does not require Hamas to lay down their guns and to disarm, so that's not going to change. But Hamas has agreed to stop attacking Israel from at least the West Bank. Now, whether that will also include the Gaza Strip, we'll see. But I have to believe that this has something to do with the fact that they are looking at moving forward in a peace negotiation, and they simply didn't want to do that unless Hamas or the full Palestinian Authority was together. You know, of course, on the other hand, we don't want to count our chickens before they hatch, as they say, because this type of agreement has gotten pretty close before, and it blew up as well. So just because they have come together does not mean that this will continue on. You know, this is another part of the story. It says a senior Fatah official told Haaretz that Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas and the government will look at how the deal is implemented and will not rely only on declarations. In other words, we're going to see if this actually does work and not just it's not just a paper agreement. And going on with the article, it says, only if we are sure that the government is really ruling in Gaza will decisions be made about the implementation of government plans on the matter of Gaza, the official said. They added that lifting the economic sanctions against Hamas by the PA would also be contingent on changes on the ground. Ahead of the unity talks in the summer, Abbas decided to cut PA's funding of Israel's electricity to Gaza in response to Hamas's refusal to accede to reconciliation attempts, plunging the Strip into an energy crisis. But here's something you probably need to know. This right here says Tuesday will be 2 weeks since the Palestinian government first convened in Gaza, and people in the Strip confirmed that no real change has taken place besides positive statements from Hamas and the PA. Some Palestinians have voiced criticism of the government, especially of Abbas, who has yet to lift the so-called sanctions placed on Gaza a number of months ago. In the meantime, no time frame from rescinding the edicts has even been given. Thus, implementing the agreement signed on Thursday hinges on good intentions of the different actors and, to a large extent, to the pressure Egypt exerts on them. As many of you know, Egypt's right in the middle of this and really has been pushing this reconciliation forward. We know that this was a division that has been in place for a decade and that things take time. But after 2 weeks, you would expect something to start changing. For example, the issue of electricity. A Gazan who spoke to Haaretz said, Now, the last time that Hamas and Fatah tried to reconcile, they had elections, and Hamas pretty well took over. And it'll be interesting to see if that's the case this time around, that this is nothing more than just a government grab where Fatah is voted out of the Palestinian or the PA government and it becomes dominated by Hamas officials. And, something also needs to be brought up, is that is with the Israeli-Palestinian peace talks and at large with the many, which I believe is will turn out to be the moderate Arab states. And really, truthfully, they've been waiting a long time to see these two entities come together so that the entire PA territories could be united and that this peace could go forward. This very well may be something that the Trump administration is and has been working on for months or whatever the case may be. So they very well may be behind this reconciliation. As I've said many times, there's many things going on behind the scenes that we simply don't know. But this definitely is something that the PA or Fatah has said needs to be done before peace can go forward. Many who have knowledge of this peace process believe that the Palestinian Authority simply wasn't going forward, nor this peace process, without a reconciliation agreement. Well, the reason why I brought this up is because this is simply just one more piece of the puzzle that stood in the way of peace between Israel, the many, and the Palestinian Authority. If in fact they can get Hamas on board with this peace process, and on top of that do what Israel wants Hamas to do, and that is disarm, that, my friend, would be a miracle. But I just like to bring to you step by step things that seem to be moving and marching toward a reconciliation between Hamas and Fatah, and that will ultimately lead to a peace process that will be regional. I'm beginning to believe that this peace that will come will be a regional peace to try to keep out and attempt to stunt the progress that Iran has made during the Syrian war in Syria and also in Iraq. And if many of you don't know, it's ISIS has pretty well been destroyed. I think they're down to about 10% of their original land, and their capital has all been but taken from them. But as I heard from reports today, that basically it just leaves another problem, and that is that yes, ISIS is gone, possibly, but the factions that work together to defeat ISIS are actually enemies. And it's hard to believe that they're not going to turn on each other. In fact, it's already somewhat become the new problem. Many in the West are saying, well, we destroyed and defeated ISIS. Now we have to worry about what's going to take the void that has been removed and what will replace it. But that, again, also may be a part of this big regional peace that will come when the many will rule. So if I was looking for a scenario to throw at you about this, the West simply doesn't want what happened after the defeat of Iraq and also after the defeat of Afghanistan, that a big void will be created that created ISIS, but just something else now. So this peace that comes may very well be a peace with many to try to prevent that void from metastasizing into another ISIS. And that could very well be what would happen, but they need to jump on it real quick. So are we looking at a regional peace, like I said, with the many, that will try to prevent this from happening again? And that's the reason why this peace with many is taking place. Well, that's certainly something that we're going to have to wait and see if that actually happens. But as I told somebody, they asked me if I thought the Antichrist was on the scene right now as a world leader. Frankly, I don't know that he is. I do really believe that at some point in time that the rapture will take place, and then the Antichrist will be revealed. And what I mean by revealed, I think that it'll be something like what happened in Austria, where this very young world leader has emerged, and essentially he came from nowhere to become the leader of this country. So we're probably looking at the rapture of the church, and then some world leader will come to power that we've never seen nor heard of, and he will go on to become the Antichrist and will rule the world through Satan. But I just wanted to bring this information to you because certainly I believe that this is just another step toward the peace process. And as I've said, I'll let you know, and I'll keep you up to date as to when I believe that the peace process has exploded. Now, every time we've had a peace process, it has exploded. It hasn't done that as of yet with the Trump administration. Now, again, I'm not saying that President Trump is the Antichrist or that he will bring the peace, but he's still in the process of doing so. You know, I still believe that the Bible says that ultimately the Antichrist would come out of the European Union or the revived Roman Empire. But like I said, right now, President Trump of the United States holds the cards in order to bring peace, and he still is moving forward in that direction. But as I've said, we'll have to wait and see how this goes. Right now, we're moving forward in that direction, and we continue to move forward. And as always, if you don't know the Lord, today is the day of salvation. Don't put it off. 150,000 people will die today. And the Bible says that the vast majority of them will end up in a burning hell. Don't let that happen to you. Come to the Lord today, ask Him to save you. And you Christians, you need to get a copy of my Tribulation Period Survival Guide. I have two versions. One is a paperback version, and the other is a digital version. Now, that digital version is free, and it's written in 9 different languages. It's the same as the paperback version. The only reason why I got the paperback version is because many were asking me for a copy that they could physically hand to their lost loved one, and they want to be able to do that in case the rapture took place. They would have this guide in their hands on their shelf when that took place, so that they'd have something to go by as the tribulation period unwound. So if that is something that you would like to do with your lost loved one, I would recommend that you get a copy of my paperback version, somewhere around $8. Go down to the description section in this video, and you'll be able to get either version for that matter. If you want to, it'll take you to get the paperback version, or it'll take you to get the digital version. Well, this is Terry Malone with the Calvary Prophecy Report.